Hey everyone, how's it going? Kevin here with Push to Talk, and I just got finished watching this week's episode of Saturday Night Dynamite. This is the second week in a row that we've gotten Saturday Night Dynamite. It was a pretty good episode overall. I can't wait until we return to Wednesday Night Dynamite so I can just get back to my normal schedule, but that's okay. I enjoyed this episode. There were a few things, though, that I was not a fan of, which we'll get into. So let's just hop right into the first segment, or the first match, which was Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes. I thought this was a really cool matchup that I've never seen before. And prior to this match starting, I didn't have really high expectations. But as soon as the match started and they kind of gave each other that stare down and then shook each other's hands, my expectations just shot up through the roof. And I think that was warranted because this ended up being a really great match. I think it was probably the best match that we saw on this week's episode of Dynamite, actually. So in the beginning, we get some great mat wrestling between the two. There's a point where Bryan Danielson puts Dustin Rhodes into a bow and arrow, and that looked really, really cool and super painful. There's another point where Dustin hits his running senton along the ring apron to the outside. I think that's kind of become like a signature move for him now, and I really like it when he hits that. We even get a shot of Tony Nese sitting in the audience at one point, and I guess his contract with WWE is over now, and it looks like he's going to AEW, so that's pretty cool. He's a good wrestler. I didn't like his gimmick very much when he was in WWE, but I'm excited to see what he can do outside of the confounds of that company. The match really starts to pick up speed between these two when Dustin just starts getting his momentum. He hits Danielson with his signature power slam and just bounces him off the mat. From there, Dustin hits a flying clothesline off of the second rope onto Danielson, who's kind of draped over the second rope, but Danielson answers that back by putting Dustin into the label lock, and Dustin's actually able to get to the rope after that and escape the submission. He didn't tap, which I thought he was going to. There's another point during the match where Dustin hits Danielson with a spike pile driver, and it looked really good. I love pile drivers. We get them a lot in AEW, and it's always such a joy to see them. Danielson does end up getting the win in this match, though, when he puts Dustin to sleep with a crazy guillotine that he had him locked into. The ref ended up stopping the match here, and I thought that was a really great way to end this contest. This was great. I think this match goes back to what we've seen consistently with Bryan Danielson since he's been in AEW, where his matches are really, really competitive, and I like that a lot. If you go watch my video about what makes Bryan Danielson a great wrestler, one of the things that I talk about is like all of his matches in AEW anyway so far have been really, really competitive, and that's something that's really refreshing and fun to see. After that, we get a great promo from Kenny and the Elite. This stable looks so complete now with Adam Cole standing alongside them, and it's super epic, and double thumbs up from me for that. We then have a promo package with FTR and the Lucha Bros. FTR is gunning for those AEW titles. They already won the AAA titles, so I'm really looking forward to the blow-off here. I'm going to assume that they're going to wrestle at the next pay-per-view. In the next segment, we have Sting out. He's there to give an update on Darby Allin, who was attacked by masked assailants, aka the Pinnacle, a few weeks back. But before he can even get one word out on the mic, MJF's music hits and interrupts him. I thought this was really awesome, and it was old school, and it made me laugh. The whole segment here was really, really great, actually. Sting attacks MJF once MJF makes his way to the ring, but Spears and Wardlow are out for the beatdown on Sting shortly after that. MJF then puts his jacket back on after the beatdown and sits down in one of the folding chairs looking over Sting. He grabs Sting and just starts yelling into the camera at Darby Allin, and he got mega heat for this. MJF is really great. I thought this segment really spotlighted how good MJF's character work is. I mean, we see this week in and week out with MJF, but here it was really particularly good because he was so intense. This is going to be a really great classic blood feud between Darby and MJF, and I hope the blow off is super violent and they do some crazy stipulation for it, because as we know in these types of blood feuds, that's kind of the best way to blow them off. In the next segment, we have Brit Baker backstage, and she's there for an interview with Tony Schiavone. She cuts a pretty good promo on Ty Conti, and that was pretty decent. In the next segment, we have the TBS Championship Tournament. It's Penelope Ford versus Ruby Soho. This was a pretty darn solid match. I like this one a lot. Soho is showing lots of speed and striking ability, and I think she's really great. The bunny does come out at one point for the distraction for Soho, which allows Ford to take control of the match. During the commercial, Soho actually hits a really brutal-looking backdrop suplex, and when we get back from the commercial, we get a replay on it, and she just dumps Penelope Ford on her head and shoulders. That looked really, really awesome. There was something at the end of the match that happened with the brass knuckles. This was kind of confusing for me to watch. I guess the ref was trying to get the brass knuckles away from Penelope Ford. That caused the distraction, and Soho was able to pin her after that for the win. Red Velvet runs to the ring as the bunny kind of steps into the ring as well for the beatdown, and it looks like they're setting up some tag match for these four sometime in the future. In the next segment, we have MJF backstage, and he's giving Wardlow crap. I like it when he gives Wardlow crap a lot. I can't wait for the moment that Wardlow just finally has enough with it and beats the crap out of MJF. MJF really, really has this coming for sure. He says he's putting spears with Wardlow going forward, and can this be the collapse of the Pinnacle? It very well could be. In the next match, we have Bobby Fish versus some jobber. I don't know who this guy was. I've never seen him wrestle before. Glad to see Bobby Fish is getting so much TV time. I mean, they're even giving him a squash match on Dynamite, which is pretty awesome. We get a lot of great offense from Fish in this match, including an exploder into the ropes, which I thought looked really good. He hits his spinning kick finisher for the win. Fish attacks after the bell, establishing himself as a heel, and CM Punk actually runs down for the save. So it looks like on next week's episode of Dynamite, we're going to get CM Punk versus Bobby Fish, and I think that's pretty exciting. I think that's actually the first match that CM Punk has had on actual Dynamite proper, so I'm looking forward to that one. In the next segment, we see Lio Rush backstage with Dante, and he's building up the team between the two. It looks like they're hyping up a match next week between the Seidel brothers versus Dante Martin and Lio Rush, so that should be pretty interesting. Next up, we have Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. I was so happy to see Lance Archer on TV. He's one of my favorites, but we actually had a pretty scary moment that happened during this match to Lance Archer, and we'll get to that, but I'm worried for him. It was a pretty rough moment. So getting into this match, Eddie attacks from behind during Lance Archer's entrance, and they just go into a straight brawl from there. Archer picks up a fan out of the crowd and uses him as a weapon. I really like it when he does this. First, he uses the fan plant, or it's some jobber, I don't know who it was. First uses him as a body slam into Eddie Kingston, and then his choke slams the jobber off the ring apron onto Eddie Kingston. I thought that was really funny. Archer delivers some serious clubbing offense in this. He's kicking the crap out of Kingston, and he hits a overhead chop at one point that just echoes through the entire building. It's really gnarly. Things start to go downhill very, very quickly, though, for Lance Archer during this match. Lance Archer goes for a moonsault, and he lands right on his head. Like, they show a replay of it, and he's just like, wham. There's no, like, arms up, no shoulder, nothing. He just lands straight on his head, and it obviously, caused some damage. He rolled out of the ring, and the doctors were checking on him. To Lance Archer's credit, he actually got back in the ring, and Eddie Kingston rolled him up for the win. This was really scary to watch. It looked really, really serious. Like I said before in this video and some of my past videos, that Lance Archer is one of my favorites in AEW. I don't think we see him enough, and this moment was kind of scary. I really hope he's okay. I hope he has a quick recovery and that we see him back in the ring soon. In the next segment, we had the Men of the Year with Dan Lambert. They're in the ring cutting a promo on the Inner Circle. Sammy's out to shut them up. He tells Lambert to give the stipulations for the Inner Circle versus Top Team match. Apparently, the stipulation is that Sammy has to defend the TNT title against Ethan Page on next week's episode of Dynamite. If he loses, not only does he lose the title, but he has to leave the Inner Circle forever. He accepts. A fight then breaks out between the Inner Circle and Men of the Year. Out come Santana and Ortiz and Jake Hager, and then we move to the next segment. In the next segment, we have Mox. He's backstage talking about his daughter, saying he doesn't give a crap about anything but his daughter. I thought this was pretty decent Jon Moxley promo and a different side of his character that we've seen before. So thumbs up there. I like character development wherever we can get it. In the next segment, we have the Dark Order there backstage, and Hangman walks up. Everyone was really excited about that. Hangman, he implores the Dark Order to dress up for Halloween next week because he knows the Elite is going to dress up too, and he wants the Dark Order to do a better job. John Silver says that he's going to be Bambi, and that made me laugh. I hope he's actually Bambi. That would be amazing. I like this segment a lot. I'm glad they're bringing back the humor with Dark Order and Hangman. I really liked that pairing to begin with. In the next segment, we have Jungle Boy versus Brandon Cutler. We know what's going here. It is basically a squash match. Jungle Boy destroys Cutler and taps him out with the snare trap. Jungle Boy grabs the mic after the ring, and he's calling out anyone from the Elite to have a match, but nobody shows up, so he puts the snare trap back on Cutler. He holds the mic up to Cutler, and Cutler's saying, "Oh, someone please come help me," and then out comes Adam Cole. Adam Cole has a mic, though, and he says, let's fight, let's do that this week. He walks down to the ring. Jungle Boy clocks him, but as he's distracted, the Young Bucks roll into the ring behind him and hit him with a super kick. Then we start a really wicked beatdown on Jungle Boy from the Elite. At the top of the ramp, they hit a BTE trigger on him, and then the boom, and they're acting like they're done, but instead they kind of walk him over to the edge of the stage, and they throw him off, and I mean throw him. Jungle Boy flew when they threw him. He hit through 2 tables. It looked like he landed pretty damn hard. You could even see a pretty kind of nasty welt on his back at one point during the chaos, and I thought that was really great. I really am loving this feud between Adam Cole and Jungle Boy. That's kind of one of the dream feuds that I was hoping that would happen once Adam Cole went to AEW, and it looks like we're getting it right off the bat. In the next segment, right before the main event, we have another promo from Miro, being God's Forsaken champion. I really like this angle that he's going for. I can't wait to see him fire back and become even more fierce than he already was. So really excited to see Miro return to the ring and just kick the crap out of some people. In the last match, this is where things got a little disappointing for me, unfortunately. Malakai's entrance was cool, though, as always. It looks like his face point is slowly starting to take over more of his face, so I don't know if this infection that he talked about on the podcast is spreading. It looks like it is, and he's just becoming more and more evil, so that's cool. These two go right at it between Cody and Malakai. We hearing Cody sucks chants from the crowd, though, early on. Malakai's offense is getting lots of support from the crowd, and they're cheering with pretty much every move that he does. They are crapping all over Cody here. Cody does throw his belt into the crowd at one point, and if you look hard enough, you see like a little kid holding it up, and I guess his dad's holding the little kid, and the crowd popped big for that, so that was pretty sweet. We have a moment during the commercial, though, where Cody hits a crossroads off the ring apron through a table onto Malakai Black, and it looked really brutal. It's unfortunate they did that during the commercial, but we did get a replay when we got back, so that was pretty cool. Once they are both back up from the table spot, both Malakai and Cody are bleeding. I love seeing blood in pro wrestling. It belongs in pro wrestling, and I'm glad we get it so much in AEW. It seems like most Cody matches we get some blood, so thumbs up on that. The two guys are struggling to get back into the ring as Andrade starts walking down the ramp. Malakai miss Arn during all of this chaos, but then Pac attacks Andrade from behind. Cody hits a crossroads on Malakai, and he is just met with a barrage of boos from the crowd. No one wants Cody to win here, obviously, but Malakai, luckily, he kicks out. Malakai hits a huge double stomp at one point after this from the top rope, followed by a crazy knee and then a German. I love the combos that Malakai hits. His combinations look really cool, and they're super unique. Though, sadly, Cody does end up hitting a crossroads, then a Tiger Driver 98 to pin Malakai for the win. This might be a little too soon to say, but I do think this was a mistake. I think Cody should have lost here, and he should have turned heel now. I do think they're going to turn him heel at some point down the line, but I don't think they should have done it at the expense of Malakai losing. They should have kept Malakai an undefeated monster. I'm sure this feud is going to continue because it looks like now Andrade and Pac are involved. So I'm sure we'll get something down the line, some sort of tag match or some, blow off somewhere. But I don't think Malakai should have won. They may be building to that Cody heel turn maybe sometime at the pay-per-view. I do think it's inevitable, though. I hope I'm right because people are starting to turn on Cody like they did like John Cena and stuff. And it's warranted, I think. I'm pretty sick of Cody myself. I hate Rhodes to the top, and I just do not like that presentation. That's just not the style of entertainment that's for me. And now I kind of associate Cody with that, and I think a lot of the fans might feel the same way. I can't speak for everyone, but that's kind of what it seems like. In any case, I thought this was a pretty good episode of Dynamite overall. The first match with Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes was the best on the entire card. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I'm really glad to see Adam Cole standing alongside the Elite during these promos. That's just so exciting and magical and awesome to see. So thanks so much for watching this week's episode of my AEW Dynamite review and recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and look me up on Instagram. I'm Push to Talk 1. I'm probably not going to shoot any more videos until maybe Dynamite of next week, but I do kind of want to do 3 in a row, do Dynamite, then an analytical view, and then Rampage, just boom, boom, boom. So I think that's going to be the schedule for this channel moving forward. We'll see, though, if I get lazy or just too tired with work, but I'm going to try. So again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.